NAB 2025 has just come to a close in Vegas, and there have been loads of interesting announcements on the lead up and during the show. So in this video, we're going to try and cover everything that was announced at the event. This is going to be a long video, so grab a drink, get comfy, and let's get into it. First off, some of the biggest announcements at the show came from Blackmagic, which, as usual, had a pretty massive presence at the show. They released a lot of new products, which I'm not going to cover fully in depth here, just highlight some of the specific ones that stood out to me. First off, the Ursa Cine 17K, which was announced at NAB last year, has finally started shipping and is now available in a body-only version, which is going to retail for just over £22,000. I'm really excited to test this camera out, especially with some of the lenses that we talk about later in this video. If you have any questions about the 17K, let us know in the comments. Up next, they announced the new Pixis 12K. This new camera is designed around the same platform as the original Pixis 6K, which means it shares a bunch with it. It's got the same excellent build quality and overall physical design, is available in the same 3 lens mounts, uses Sony's BPU style batteries for power, runs the same operating system, and shares accessories. However, it replaces the 6K sensor for the same fantastic full frame RGBW sensor found in the Ursa Cine 12K. We tested the Ursa Cine 12K late last year, and the sensor in that camera is truly brilliant for the price. And that hopefully should still be the case in the Pixis 12K. It does have some limitations compared to the Cine 12K, probably because of how much smaller the camera is, which means that there will certainly be some thermal and processing limitations that Blackmagic will have had to balance. Its maximum frame rates are around half of the Ursa Cines, but they are still pretty good. It can capture 12K 3x2 open gate up to 40 frames per second, and 8K or 4K 16:9 up to 84 frames per second, which is still very impressive. Because of the unique sensor design, you can still shoot in 8K or 4K and use the full sensor, so you get the benefit of in-camera scaling, higher readout speeds and frame rates, and reduced data rates compared to 12K, at a slight sacrifice of overall detail. Here's a list of the readout speeds for the Pixis 12K's different modes. It looks to perform really well when you scale down to 8 or 4K, but in the 12K modes, 24 milliseconds will result in some artifacts, but at least you can scale down when you need a faster readout speed. It's priced at just £5,000, which for a camera of this spec is incredibly well priced. And I think a lot of people who like the look of the Ursa Cine 12K but couldn't deal with the size of the thing will jump on this camera just for the sensor tech alone. We took a look at the original Pixis 6K last year, so if you want to learn more about the Pixis system, check that video out. Links to that and our Ursa Cine 12K review are in the description. With this, they also announced 2 new accessories for the Pixis cameras, the Pro Handle and Pro Grip. This new handle attaches to the top of the Pixis and uses the USB-C port on the camera to provide image to the built-in EVF and data to the rest of the handle. When I saw the press images that Blackmagic released for this, I instantly thought of camcorders of yesteryear, especially the Sony f3, which instantly came to mind when I saw them. The handle has a few buttons built in for control, including a zoom rocker and record button. It also has a built-in stereo microphone, tally lamp, and cold shoe mount. I'm sure this will be helpful for some people, but I personally find the EVF placement a bit difficult. The Pro Grip attaches onto the AC side of the Pixis and adds a broadcast style grip. It has a zoom rocker, record button, and again interfaces with the camera via USB-C. Both of these accessories are aimed to try and make the Pixis cameras more appealing for broadcast use, and aren't super expensive, so could be worth grabbing for some. Links to both are in the description. Up next, they announced with Camera Update 9.5, the Cinema Camera 6K gets a range of new autofocus features which no Blackmagic cameras have had previously. This includes continuous autofocus and object and face tracking modes. This is great to see, as this has always been something that some creators have wanted to see from Blackmagic. This is going to be limited compared to the systems found in Canon, Sony and Panasonic, but these companies have been refining their autofocus systems for years, and this is the first time Blackmagic have put a lot of effort into developing their previously very basic single-shot autofocus. This will eventually come to other cameras, but currently it's just available on the Cinema Camera 6K for Blackmagic to test and get user feedback on. This is really exciting, and I know lots of people are eagerly waiting Blackmagic to bring this to other cameras, and I do as well. It's an exciting first step that could sway a lot of people over from the likes of Canon and Sony who need reliable autofocus. Next, they released the beta for DaVinci Resolve 20, which has loads of awesome new features and updates, with a lot of them using AI unsurprisingly. Here's a rough list of some of the features, but the beta is available to download now, So if you want to learn more and see more of what's new, check out the webpage about it, link in the description below. The NAB announcement stream with Grant goes into detail about all of this new kit and all the extra stuff that they announced as well. Here's a list of everything they announced, and if you want to learn more about any of this, I recommend giving the stream a watch on Blackmagic's YouTube channel. Fujifilm had the upcoming GFX Eterna on show again and announced a few more details about the camera. First off, we got some detail about the built-in ND system. It uses an electronic variable ND and gives users a range of 2 to 7 stops. One of the coolest details has to be the internal battery. The Eterna can use the same battery that the GFX uses as a redundant power source. This means you'll be able to have one of these batteries live in the camera and then hot swap your main power source without the camera powering down. External power sources will actually charge the internal battery, and you can actually still use the camera with just the internal battery, but it will be limited versus other power sources. Up next is audio. The camera only has a 3.5mm mic input and scratch mics. No XLR inputs on the body at all. However, Fujifilm have announced that Tascam will have a hot shoe XLR adapter similar to their previous ones for this camera. Fujifilm has also confirmed it will have support for camera to cloud and have autofocus with compatible lenses. I'm excited to properly shoot with this camera. If you have any questions about it, let us know in the comments below. Up next, a new company in the camera space, PIXBOOM, was showing off their Spark high-speed cinema camera. It can capture slow motion footage up to 1000 frames per second in 4K and up to 1800 frames per second in 2K. It uses a Super 35 backside illuminated global shutter sensor, and the images on their demo reel actually look pretty good. It features a 3.5-inch touchscreen for control and monitoring, with remote operation also possible via serial connection. It can be powered externally or via the integrated V-mount plate. It has a range of inputs and outputs, including 12G SDI and pogos for accessories. Rushes are recorded onto a proprietary 2.4TB SSD in a proprietary RAW format, and users can choose between locking E or PL mounts. I'm intrigued to learn more about this camera and how much it's going to cost when it hits the market, as other than the Freefly Ember and Phantoms offerings, there aren't that many high-speed cameras like this. How much do you think it's going to be? Let us know your guesses in the comments. The DJI Ronin 4D has had a bunch of interest recently, partly thanks to its use on Netflix's hit Adolescence and the recent price adjustment for both the 6K and 8K systems. The 6K system is now £4,289 and the 8K is £8,649. They both come with slightly different accessories, but neither of them now include the wireless high-bright monitor and transmitter module for the camera, whereas they did for the past year-ish. Considering what you get for the price and how unique this system is, this does make it quite an interesting option for a lot of people now. Along with this adjustment, they also reduced the cost of the optional ProRes RAW license for the 4D systems. This originally cost just under £1,000, but now this upgrade is just £1, which effectively makes it a free upgrade for any Ronin 4D owner who hasn't upgraded yet, or any other new 4D owners. You can purchase this license through DJI's website, link to which is in the description. ProRes RAW still isn't the most well-supported RAW format, but the 4D having the option to shoot that alongside regular ProRes and some other compressed options is very helpful. We'll be doing a video on the 4D very soon, so if you have any questions or stuff you want to see us shoot, let us know in the comments below. Sony were surprisingly quiet at NAB this year, though they were showing off their new Venice 2 Extension System Mini. We covered this in last month's quick kit, but it's essentially a new tiny extension system similar to their previous Rialto system. Arri also announced a new range of accessories for this system as well. They also dropped the price of both the FX30 and FX3 by about £200. Price drops for these cameras have actually been pretty rare since they came out, but given how other companies like Blackmagic, Red and DJI have dropped pricing on some of their systems recently, this does make sense. Up next, they announced the HTC F5500V, their latest Super 35 4K broadcast camera system. It features a global shutter sensor, an optical variable ND filter which can ramp as you shoot smoothly, comes PL mount as standard, and can shoot and output in a range of different formats. The live images that Sony shared from this camera look pretty good. They also announced the ASDT1, a tiny LiDAR depth sensor which is supposedly the world's smallest LiDAR sensor, making it ideal for applications where space and weight constraints are paramount, such as drones, robotics and more. It would be really interesting to see if they implement this tech into any of their cameras going forward. And lastly, we are still waiting for Sony to launch version 2 firmware for the Brano, which fingers crossed they do soon. If you want to keep up with the latest and greatest kit, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to buy anything you see in this video or any other kit for that matter, head over to cvp.com where our experienced team is waiting to help you. There have been loads of lenses released at the show, Let's start off looking at DJI's announcements. First off, they showed prototype versions of their new Vespid 2 primes. These are new versions of their very popular Vespid primes, but they have been reworked optically to capture a slightly cleaner, more neutral image compared to the original Vespids. And they are faster at t1.9, which I'm happy to see. The set will consist of 6 lenses at release, which is a pretty good range for an initial set. They also have Cooke eye data built into the PL mounts, which is actually pretty rare to see in lower cost cine lenses. And they also should be getting an external data port as well at some point, like DJI did with the Vespid Cybers. There's no concrete pricing for them yet, but they should be priced around the $1,500 mark, which is pretty reasonable. I'm excited to get these in to test when we can. I like the look of their new housing as well, they look really nice. Next, they showed off their newest Arla prime, the 18mm t1.4, which now brings the set to 11 focal lengths. They also had new tuned versions of the Arla called Lustra, which have this really interesting looking bronze housing. They seem to have changed the coatings, which look much warmer, but the footage I've seen from them looks really nice. Lastly, they have their new 360° extract, which looks cool as well. It's the same 18-28mm t8 lens that the previous extract is, but with this different perspective, which I'm sure creators will take advantage of. Talking about probe lenses, Laowa have also introduced a new series of probe zoom lenses, the 15-24mm t8 and the 15-35 t12. They feature a 40cm waterproof barrel, which gives them really good reach and offer multiple viewing options: direct view, 35° angled view, and a periscope view, similar to their previous Probe 2 series of lenses. They will be available in a range of mounts including Sony E, Canon EF, RF, Nikon Z and L mount, and are going to be priced at around $4,000 per lens. I'm intrigued to put these new lenses and DJI's extract against each other. Let us know if this is something you'd like to see down below. They also released 2 new Shift 0D cine lenses, a 15mm t4.8 and 20mm t4.1. These will be great for filmmakers capturing architecture, landscapes and VFX. They look pretty interesting and have a massive image circle, which means that they should work on even some 65mm cameras. They are also priced pretty reasonably at just over £2,000 each, which is decent for something that is so unique. Blazar was showing off their new set of 1.33x anamorphic lenses, the Mantis. These have been designed for full-frame sensors, which 1.33x is great for, and at release there will be a 35, 50 and 75mm, all of which are T2, and a 25 and 100mm T2.4. The Mantis lenses come with interchangeable mounts so you can swap between PL, EF, E, RF, L and Z, and have a 180° focus rotation, which is great for solo operators. But the really unique thing is the 14-blade iris, which holds its elliptical shape as you stop down. This helps keep that trademark anamorphic oval bokeh, even though they are only 1.33x. Another big change for them is that their close focus is improved compared to the previous Remus line. These look really great and should be similarly priced to the Remus lenses, which will make them very affordable. I really like the look of these and cannot wait to get them in to check out. Blazar also showed off their new tiny Beetle 45mm t3.2 1.33x anamorphic lens. This is a full-frame fixed aperture lens which can actually have its anamorphic element rotated 90 degrees, which is pretty unique. It will be available in E, L and M mount and should be priced around the $500 mark, which should make it a nice lens for people to grab for a bit of fun or for some interesting photography. NiSi showed off their newest series of cinema lenses, the Aureus primes. We actually have a set of these in to test at the moment and we'll be releasing a review of them very soon. These new lenses are aimed to sit just above the Athenas, but have definitely been designed to be used alongside them with very similar characteristics. There are currently 5 lenses in the set, with another 3 confirmed to be coming out in the future, all of which are T1.4. They are a bit bigger compared to the Athenas, but they are also faster and reworked optically to not have the rear element extend too much, which means that these should work better with drop-in filter adapters and speed boosters than the Athenas. They're going to be priced at around $2,600 per lens, which puts them around the same price as the DJI Ronin, which is what they are going to be mainly competing against and we'll be comparing them to in our video. If you have any more questions about the Aureus, let us know in the comments, but so far we are really liking the look of them. Up next, Dulens have created a new series of medium format cine lenses called the APO Cambrian primes. Dulens have made some fantastic lenses previously, especially their APO mini primes, which are awesome. And these new lenses have been designed with them in mind. They supposedly have the same coating as the mini primes, but with reduced ghosting and an overall more clean and modern image compared to the mini primes. They have an image circle of 55mm plus, which should cover the upcoming 65mm cameras from Blackmagic and Fuji, and Arri's 65mm options as well. There are currently 4 focal lengths in the set, but there'll be more coming soon. They actually look pretty compact given their image circle, will be PL as standard, and will all have a T2 maximum aperture. There aren't that many lenses for these medium format cameras yet, so these are great to see. But I'm hoping that we see some more lenses with larger image circles that are faster, like T1.4, as we need more fast cine lenses for these upcoming cameras to really give that more unique medium format look. Like these new ones from Kipon, who announced their new series of medium format cine lenses, the CineSpeed 65s, at NAB as well. The first lens that they've announced in this series is a 65mm T1.4, but there really isn't much information about them at the moment. There was a load of other lenses announced as well, which I want to quickly just talk through. 7 Artisan announced their affordable Infinite series of lenses back at CP+, but they were showing them off again at NAB 2025. Atlas were showing off their new 24, 27 and 32mm Mercury lenses, which are all T2.2 and have a 1.5 times squeeze factor. The 24mm front element looks nuts. Chiopts were showing off their new Aura series of T1.5 mirrorless mount cine lenses, consisting of a 16, 24, 32, 50 and 85mm, all of which are T1.5 apart from the 16mm, which is T2.2. New lens manufacturer Alesis was showing off their new Muse series of primes. These will consist of 7 lenses from 25 to 135mm, with the first 6 being T1.5 and then the 135mm being a T2.8 macro. That's a really nice range, and it's great to have a dedicated macro at announcement. Fujinon announced their new broadcast lens, the LA30 7.8, which is a 7.8 234mm lens designed for 4K broadcast work. Ironglass announced that they will now be offering rehousing of the popular Canon FD series of lenses. Modulate had a new fixed strength tuner for mirrorless mount cameras for use with their native mount lenses, such as E to E or Z to Z, which will still give data pass-through and correct back focus. This is awesome, and I think for people running cleaner lenses like G Masters who want to add a little look every now and then, this could be a really great way to do so. Songraw showed off their AF 50mm f1.2 for a range of mirrorless mount cameras, and Viltrox had their Ray series of DL lenses. Sennheiser announced their new MKH 8018 stereo shotgun microphone, and it's a bit of a unique one. It features a dual capsule design, one supercardioid and one figure 8. When going between the 3 different modes on the mic, you are changing how the microphone is using these different capsules. The mic can then output the 2 different patterns independently via the 5-pin XLR output, which can then be recorded separately and then mixed in post. It also has a low cut filter, -10 dB pad, and is built to survive the abuse mics can be subject to on set. It's actually quite rare to see new shotgun microphones hit the market, but this one does look pretty interesting for people capturing sound on set or Foley on location, and it's available to order now. Up next, Aputure announced a couple of new things, starting with the Storm XT52, a 5200 watt full RGB LED fixture that is one of the brightest LED fixtures ever made, and it kicks out some serious light. It uses the same fantastic Blair lighting engine that Aputure introduced with the ATC and 1200X, which are fantastic fixtures that produce beautiful quality light. The XT52 has full RGB controls, uses Aputure's A mount, and weighs just 62 pounds, which is around 30% lighter than a traditional 9K HMI, making it much easier to handle. It's going to be priced around £13,000, but this is going to be primarily a rental lighting fixture. Next, they announced a 3-light kit for the Storm ATC. The ATC is a great little fixture, and this kit comes in a really nice looking case with a good range of accessories. It looks like a really nicely done kit, and is available to order now. Aputure's sister company Amaran released 2 new RGBWW LED panel fixtures, the Pano 60C and 120C, with the number being the wattage of the fixture. These panels pack some decent brightness and photometrics for their relatively low price and size. One really interesting feature though of these panels is how they are powered. They feature a USB-C port with lock-in connector for PD power, which is great to see. 140 watts is required for full power, but the fixture will adjust the max output based on the power source. You can also power it via Amaran's upcoming Peak power bank, which uses the new Ace E-Lock quick release system. They also have a lot of the regular other bells and whistles that you expect to see with an Amaran fixture, and will come with a few accessories in the box. Tilta had a few new things on show, including their new electronic V&D 4x5 filter, and a range of mirrorless camera batteries and chargers. but probably their largest announcement had to be the long-awaited Nucleus M2. We've been using the original Nucleus M for years, and it's great to finally see a new version come out and improve on a bunch of things. The M2 can control 4 channels across the different dials on the unit. This includes focus, iris, zoom, and ND control with their variable ND that we mentioned earlier. The hand unit looks far more modern now. It features a nice touchscreen on the bottom and a small screen for marks when you're pulling focus. Both the grips and hand unit use Sony NPF 550 style batteries, which is great as the original Nucleus M batteries are so specific compared to these more general Sony ones. You also now have the ability to map lenses and save up to 128 of them to the hand unit. You can set clear AB marks, and the motors can go slower and faster than the previous generation motors. These new motors have been completely redesigned, but the system will also work with existing Nano 2 and M motors, and is also compatible with DJI gimbal focus control as well. These new motors look more compact and flexible. You can change where the bar mount's orientation sits, which is a nice change as well. The grips have also seen an update in design, and you can now spread the control across the grips and hand unit. It looks like a really nice upgrade, and currently it's priced at just £1,338 for the Ultimate kit. But this is just a pre-order price, which will be going up to just over £2,000 once this pre-order period is over. Link if you're interested in grabbing one at this price is in the description below. Nikon announced the Z5 II, their latest entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera. It features the same 24 megapixel backside illuminated CMOS sensor used in the ZF and the Z6 II. In the Z5 II, it can capture 11 frames per second when shooting in RAW using the mechanical shutter, and in video you can shoot 4K 30 using the full width of the sensor, or 4K 60, but this does result in a 1.5 times crop. You also have the ability to shoot 10-bit N-Log in compressed formats, but also N-RAW, which in a mirrorless camera at this price is pretty damn impressive. It has updated stabilization, autofocus, and overall spec compared to the previous generation. It looks like it offers a good amount for its body-only price of just under £1,600. Nikon also released version 2 firmware for the ZF, which brings a range of new features and tweaks. This includes support for Nikon's imaging cloud, a bird option within the subject detection of the autofocus system, the same high-res zoom function that some of their other cameras have now as well, and a new function which enables a punch-in when in manual focus mode when half pressing the shutter button. Here's the full release notes. Core SWX introduced a few new products. First off, their new series of XL V-mount batteries. These are available in 99 and 147 watt versions, have a range of power outputs, have SM bus support, and a nice OLED screen on them. Up next, they announced the PowerBase Edge Snap Extreme system. This takes the existing Snap system they introduced last year, but increases the robustness of it with their Snap Lock system. This includes a Snap QR plate, which allows you to mount them onto standard V or Gold mounts, and it even provides power information through them. Up next, they introduced the Nano XM Snap. These are BPU, MPF or BPA batteries, but with the magnetic snapping feature from the Snap. These allow you to snap these different batteries together and charge them all in a stack via USB-C PD 65 watt charging. They charge simultaneously, have PD Pro and other power outputs on the bodies, and even have a Q20 thread so you can mount them in some more unique ways. All these new Snap products look really versatile and well thought out. And lastly, they announced the Helix Max Ultra dual voltage smart batteries, which will be available in a range of capacities and mounts. Accsoon have announced the development of 2 new monitors, the CineView M7 and M7 Pro. These are 7-inch on-camera monitors with the Pro featuring a built-in wireless video receiver, which will work with Accsoon's CineView wireless video system. They feature both SDI and HDMI in and outs, have a peak brightness of 1000 nits, a resolution of 1920 by 1200, use a dual MPF battery plate, and have a range of other power inputs. They also have internal recording and live streaming options. They look really interesting, and pricing looks pretty reasonable for something this packed with features. Right, let's get into our quick-fire honourable mentions. Links to details about these are in the description below. Adwin's Cables were showing off their new Red series of products, which have been designed to have a softer hand feel and are crafted from more flexible and durable materials than their regular cables. Asus introduced the ProArt OLED PA32 UCDM, a 4K 240Hz QD OLED monitor that has some really great specs. Atomos announced a bunch, a 4K and HD TXRX wireless video set, new HD and 4K PTZ cameras, a pair of production headphones, and their new Atmosphere cloud-based production platform. BirdDog released a bunch of new products under their Mackie series. Bitpart introduced the Bitbox Mini. Bright Tangerine released an Axle EVF adapter for the Zacuto Gratical and Kin Affinity EVF. Cinema Devices released the Ergo Rig 2. Deity announced the Theos Diff-B and Shark Fin antenna. Falcam introduced the Move Light Go, a relatively affordable motorized light control system. Godox showed off the MG6K 5000 watt Cobb LED fixture. Holyland teased the Lark Max M2 wireless audio system, the Cosmo C2 and the Pyro 5. iFootage showed off the Spider Crab Z-axis stabilizer, the Shark Slider Nano 2 DJI Osmo 3 adapter, and the Anglerfish SU 800 BNS 800 watt lighting fixture. Kelvin released the Play Hero RGB LED pocket light. Lectrosonics announced the DSSM Mini TX. Mid49 released a bunch of power distro boxes for a range of cameras. Motorized Precision showed off their upcoming Evo robotic control system. Mosis released the Star Tracker Mini camera tracking system. Nanlite announced the PavoTube 2 SXR, a compact battery-powered 8-pixel RGB tube light. Next Storage announced 2 new CF Express Type A cards that are VPG 800 compliant. Obsbot released the Tail 2 PTZR live 4K production camera. Polar Pro introduced their new series of Roadrunner bags. Portkeys were showing off their latest 7-inch 1000 nits 1080p monitor, the LS7P. Saramonic released their K9 dual-channel digital UHF wireless audio system. Smorig announced their new X-Touch X99 V-mount battery and RC100C Cobb LED fixture. Strada launched Strada Agents, which essentially allows you to create your own cloud-based storage. And lastly, Wooden Camera introduced a 12G SDI splitter. Right, I think that's everything. If we've missed anything that caught your eye, let us know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.